Hello everyone. So I just got a message on Instagram maybe 2 days ago, and it was someone asking if it was alright to give Santa Muerte blood. Is it okay to give blood as an offering? And I did answer them, but I want to go ahead and answer this question here on my channel because I don't think it's anything I've ever really spoken about, or at least certainly not at length. So, is it okay for you to give Santa Muerte blood? Can you do it? Yes, you can do it, but in general, I would not advise it. Blood contains a lot of life force. It's a very potent substance. All of the bodily fluids contain some of your life force, but blood especially. And when you give blood to a spirit that you're working with, it kind of strengthens the bond. And some occultists say that if you give a spirit blood, a being blood as an offering, that you are to an extent giving that being dominion over you, giving them kind of control over you in a way. And it's something that you do with only a being who you absolutely trust. Like, I understand a little bit more if you've been working with a being for several years, you have such a strong, unbelievably close bond, and you feel very called to give them that kind of an offering. That makes a little bit more sense to me than say someone who's just starting out with a being and immediately the first thing they do is offer them blood. I would say that's a big no-no. Or on the other hand, there are people who don't plan on working with a being extensively. They're just doing maybe one ritual involving a being, one prayer, one spell, and they offer blood to the being for just that one instance. Even if you never work with that being again, the being is going to be tethered to you permanently because you gave them some of your blood. It almost makes me think of when people get sigils for different beings tattooed onto their bodies. It's the same thing. It's like you're branding yourself with the name of that being, so that being basically has dominion over your body to an extent. And in general, I wouldn't offer blood. I've never given blood. There's nothing, I wouldn't say there's anything inherently wrong because it's coming from your own body, but we have a lot of stigma around things like that. At least here in the United States, obviously in Mexico or other places, it's more common to sacrifice like goats or chickens for the sake of spells and rituals. We see that a lot, or some people even sacrifice bats and things like that. But in general, not really talking about animal sacrifice or the giving of blood from animals, but with humans and them giving themselves their own blood. I don't know. I wouldn't advise it in general. It's a very much a case-by-case basis, person-by-person basis. Only you know if it's okay for you to do, if it's something you're comfortable with, if it's something you feel inexplicably overly called to do, or if a spirit you're working with who you have an intense bond with asks you to do it. But I would say in general, I wouldn't offer blood to La Santa Muerte in general, like generally speaking. I have never felt called to do that, and I don't really see myself doing it. I can't speak on future me. I don't know what future me is like, but the me right now, it's not something I feel particularly drawn to do. I don't feel called to do it, and I don't really feel comfortable doing it. I don't like physical pain, and I know there are ways to draw blood without inflicting real pain to yourself, but I don't want to do it. And I've never felt called to do it. And I absolutely want you to know that if anyone is pressuring you to do that, don't listen to them. Run far away from them. If anyone is telling you you have to do that, especially with La Santa Muerte, they're totally wrong. They're out of their mind. Don't listen to a word that they're saying. They don't know what they're talking about. Working with her, you can offer so many different kinds of things, and she accepts so many different kinds of offerings. Even if you have no money, you can offer prayers. You can sing to her. You can do charity work. There are so many things you can offer when you don't have any money. And yes, a bodily fluid costs you no physical money, but it's not something to be taken lightly. And I'm not negating the validity of it in magic and the occult And I'm not saying that there's something wrong with you if you want to do it, have done it, or are considering doing it. But I'm saying it's just simply not something you do lightly. And it's not something you should do capriciously without a second thought. It's not something you really do on a whim. It's something that should be very well thought out. And it should, in my opinion, only be done with a being who you have a very close bond with. So, again, it's not necessarily wrong in itself, but I wouldn't advise doing it if you're not comfortable with it, if someone's pressuring you to do it. And it's never a mandatory thing, at least not with La Santa Muerte. So, with that being said, I'm going to end the video here, but thank you for listening. I'll see you all in the next one. Take care.